Hey guys, Mr. Burns here with your video for lesson 2.2T, problem solving with proportions. So at this point, you guys have already covered a little bit about what proportions are and how they relate to one another and how they relate to rates and ratios and whatnot and fractions. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to problem solve using proportions. So in the worksheet that you guys are using, some of the instructions were put up at the top, so it's modified a little bit, but the concept is the same. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that with you guys. So on there it says solve each problem using a proportion. Be sure to A, identify the variable and what it represents. B, write a proportion and watch your units. Sorry. C, solve the proportion. And D, answer the questions. So for numbers 1 and 2, it simply says solve the proportions. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and we're going to solve those together. And make sure, again, you guys are watching the video, listening to what I'm talking about, and seeing how it relates to just paying attention to the video and see how I solve the problems, and make sure you guys show the steps is what I'm getting at. All right, here we go. Number 1. So again, for numbers 1 and number 2, it says solve the proportion. Here we go. So to solve these proportions, all you have to do is cross multiply and then divide by what's left over. So here we go. So we're going to cross multiply. So 3 times x is 3x, and that's equal to 18 times 2, which is 36. To solve this proportion, we're going to divide both sides by the number that is attached to the variable, which is 3, and x equals, because when you multiply by 3 and divide by 3, they cancel each other out. And then 36 divided by 3 is, if you know your basic math facts, 36 divided by 3 is 12. Okay, so that's how you solve a proportion using that cross multiply, what I call the cross and multiply and divide model. All right, number 2. On number 2, second verse, same as the first. Mr. Burns, you say that a lot. Yes, I do. All right, here we go. So 10 times y is 10y. Why? I don't know. And then we've got 15 times 4, and 15 times 4 is 60. Now again, I am bald, but I am not perfect, so make sure that you guys are following along and paying attention, and if I make a mistake, let me know. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and divide by the number that's attached to the variable, which is 10. Multiplying by 10 and dividing by 10 cancel each other out, which leaves me y all by itself. And then 60 divided by 10, I believe, is 6. Okay. All right, so that's numbers 1 and numbers 2. Okay. Now, when we're problem solving, we're solving story problems. So we're going to set up these proportions in the context of a problem. All right, so here we go. Number 3. It says Abigail walks 8 miles in 2 hours. That's actually not a very bad pace. How far will she walk at this speed in 3 hours? So A, it says let blank equal the number of miles Abigail walks in 3 hours. So since we're solving for miles, use m as your variable. Oops. So that's going to be my variable, m. So the proportion is she travels 8 miles in 2 hours. So the key thing to remember is that whatever's on the top stays on the top. So in this case, 8 miles is on the top of our ratio, and 2 is in the denominator of our ratio. So miles is going to stay on the top. Do we know how many miles she's going to walk in 3 hours? No. So that is your variable. But we do know how many hours she's going to walk. That's 3. So again, 3 hours. I'm going to abbreviate. Okay, so at this point it says solve the proportion. So here we go. So we're going to cross multiply. 2 times m is 2m. Oops, I'm using a stylus now, so I'm getting kind of fancy schmancy. So here we go. So we got 2m over or equal to, sorry, and then 3 times 8, and 3 times 8 is 24. Again, trust but verify. Trust but verify. And then at this point, we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by the number that is attached to the variable, which is 2. Oops. My stylus is not working, children. It's 2. And then when we multiply by 2 and divide by 2, they cancel out. So m equals, and what is 24 divided by 2? 24 divided by 2, I believe, is 12. So the answer is Abigail will walk how many miles in 3 hours? That's 12. When I was in the Marine Corps, we had to walk 4 miles an hour, a 4 mile an hour pace, and that's what this is actually. So that's a pretty good pace. All right, here we go. 3 cans of tuna. Number 4. 3 cans of tuna. I better make sure that's on your worksheet. Yep, it is. So 3 cans of tuna cost $2. How many cans of tuna can you buy for $12? So part A says let blank equal the number of cans of tuna you can buy for $12. In this case, for me, I don't care. Use C if you want. Use T if you want. I'm going to check use T since we're talking about cans of tuna. Tuna balloona. My stylus isn't working. It's going to make me mad. Okay, so T is the number of cans of tuna you can buy for $12. So it says set up your proportion. So in this situation, we know that 3 cans of tuna cost $2. Okay. And then so our proportion is 3 cans of tuna over $2 is equal to how many cans? We don't know. So we're going to say T for tuna cans of tuna. Oops. Again, my stylus isn't working. Kind of give me some fits and starts here. Try this again. T for tuna. And how much money are we spending? $12. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this proportion, and we're going to cross multiply it and then divide. So we're going to go 2 times t, which is 2t, equals, and then we go 12 times 3. 12 times 3 is 36. Okay, and then to solve this, we're going to divide by the number that's attached to the variable, which is 2. Multiplying by 2, dividing by 2 cancels out, and 36 divided by 2, I believe, is 18. And what is the label in this case? It's cans of tuna. So the answer is you can buy how many cans of tuna for $12? That's 18. Yum, yum. Lots of tuna helper. All right, here we go. On to the next page. So again, this video is going to be a little bit different than your worksheet packet that you guys, or the worksheet that you guys got handed out. But you guys will get it. You understand. Okay, moving on. Okay, so here we go with number 5. And again, number 5 might look a little bit different on the video than it does on your worksheet, but it's the same problem. Okay, here we go. So for number 5, it says you paid $32 for 8 gallons of gasoline. How much would you pay for 10 gallons of gasoline? So one, we have to identify our variable. So let blank equal blank. So since we're solving for the amount of money, let's go ahead and let D, see if my stylus works here, D equal dollars. Okay. And then it says, so now we're going to set up our proportion. So our proportion is going to be essentially this. So it's $32, okay, for 8 gallons of gasoline. And that is equal to, I'm going to go, and that's going to be equal to how much. So we don't know how much, but since the dollar's on the top, we're going to use D for dollars because we don't know how much we paid for 10 gallons of gasoline. So that is our proportion. For part D, it says solve the proportion. So here we go. We're going to cross multiply it, then divide. So 8 times D is 8D equals. And then we're going to go 10 times 32. And 10 times 32 is 320. And again, if you're using a calculator, trust but verify. All right. And then so we're going to divide by the number that's attached to the variable, which is 8. So divide by 8. Okay. 8. I can make my 8 look better. Golly. I tell you, this is challenging, guys. 8. So multiplying by 8, dividing by 8 cancels out. And what's my answer? 320 divided by 8, I believe, is 40. Again, trust but verify. So the answer is $40 for 10 gallons Thanks for being patient with me, guys. For 10 gallons. Okay. All right. On to number 6. So in number 6, it says a truck driver travels 120 miles in 2 hours. At this rate, how far will he travel in 4 hours? So in this case, let's go ahead. I'm going to kind of jump around here a little bit. Hopefully it won't confuse you too much. But here we go. So let's set up our proportion, right? So let's set up a proportion. We know that the truck driver drives 120 miles in 2 hours. And that is equal to, says at this rate, how far will he travel in 4 hours? Well, the distance is on the top and the time is on the bottom in the denominator. So here we go. So we're going to put 4 in the denominator. And how far will he travel? I'm going to put m for miles. That's going to be my variable. And then at this rate, after we set up the proportion, we're going to cross multiply and divide, okay, to solve for the value of m, which is the number of miles. So 2 times m is 2m. And that is equal to 4 times 120. And 4 times 120 is 480, I believe. And then to solve for the value of m, we're going to divide both sides by 2. And m is equal to 480 divided by 2, which is 240. And what is my label? My label is miles. Okay, so that is my final answer for that one. Okay, so at this point, this is kind of a shorter video than the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the assignment that the teacher wanted you guys to do with this video. So after you've done this, go ahead and get out a clean sheet of paper. Make sure you put your heading on it like the teacher asks you to do. So that way we know who you are when we grade your papers. Yes, I'm helping him grade your papers. So make sure you guys put your heading on your paper. All right. Headings, headings, headings on your papers. All right. Your assignment for today is going to be lesson 2.2. And it's going to be page 28 through 30. Numbers 2 to 24. My stylus. Even. Okay, so that is your assignment for this lesson. Okay, lesson 2.2, problem solving with proportions. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you come and ask me so I can help you. If you guys have questions, make sure you come and ask me. If you're into sports, okay, and stuff like that, and you're not going to be here for the next day, make sure you come and ask me so that way I can get you what you're going to be missing. So other than that, best of luck. Let me know if you guys need any help. You know where I'm at. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.